Chapter 33. The Clarity. Day 72. Raw Input. The world was not high definition. It was not optimized. It was grainy, loud, and excessively bright. Arthur Vane sat on a curb 2 blocks from his former basement apartment. The morning sun hit the asphalt with a glare that made his eyes water. A garbage truck groaned past, the sound of the compactor like a physical assault on his eardrums. And the pain was a living thing. The gabapentin had been a mute button. Now the volume was turned up to maximum. His sciatic nerve was a hot wire threaded through his hip and down his leg, vibrating with every heartbeat. His muscles ached from the days of seizing and shivering. His stomach was a hollow knot. He hugged his knees, gritting his teeth against the throbbing in his lower back. It was excruciating. It was the worst he had ever felt. And yet he could count the cracks in the sidewalk. 1, 2, 3, 4. His mind wasn't racing. It wasn't fogged. It wasn't floating in a warm bath or buzzing with electric manic energy. It was just there. Processing speed, normal. Latency, 0. He watched a woman walking a dog. The dog stopped to sniff a fire hydrant. The woman pulled the leash. "Come on, Buster," she said. Arthur heard the frustration in her voice. He saw the way her shoulders slumped. He saw the scuff marks on her shoes. He didn't analyze her. He didn't categorize her as a variable. He just saw a person who was tired. He felt a sudden, sharp pang in his chest. It wasn't anxiety. It was empathy. "I am feeling," Arthur realized. "I am receiving signal." He stood up. The pain in his legs spiked, almost dropping him to his knees. He gasped, grabbing a lamppost for support. "Acceptable," he wheezed. He needed to eat. He checked his pockets. He had no money. He had no phone. It was still in the trash bag poncho. Dead. He walked. Every step was a negotiation with gravity. He walked toward the subway station. Not to jump the turnstile, he didn't have the agility for that anymore, but because there was a man who sold fruit outside the entrance. Arthur approached the cart. The vendor was arranging oranges. "Excuse me," Arthur said. His voice was a rusted hinge. The vendor looked up. He saw the specter in the ruined clothes. "No money, no fruit," the vendor said automatically. "I don't have money," Arthur said, "but I can fix your inventory sheet." He pointed to the clipboard hanging from the side of the cart. It was a mess of scribbled numbers and crossed-out prices. The vendor frowned. "What? You're losing margin on the spoilage," Arthur said. He pointed to a crate of bananas that were turning brown. "You're overstocking perishables on Tuesdays. It's a low-traffic day. You should shift the order to Thursday." The vendor stared at him. "You crazy?" "Yes," Arthur said, "but I'm good at math. Let me organize your ledger. In exchange for an apple." The vendor looked at the clipboard. He looked at the bananas. "1 apple?" the vendor asked. "1 apple." The vendor handed him a clipboard and a pen. "You got 5 minutes. If you mess it up, I call the cops." Arthur took the pen. His hand was still trembling, a fine, residual tremor. He looked at the columns. Apples, oranges, bananas, price, cost. It was data. It was a system. Arthur began to write. He crossed out the inefficiencies. He calculated the run rate in the margins. He structured the order flow. It wasn't the millions of dollars of client X. It was fruit. But the logic was the same. He finished in 4 minutes. He handed the clipboard back. "Order less on Monday," Arthur said. "Push the price on the ripe ones." 2 for 1. Clear the stock before it rots. The vendor looked at the sheet. He looked at Arthur. He reached into the crate. He didn't grab an apple. He grabbed a sandwich wrapped in foil, his own lunch. He handed it to Arthur. "Take it," the vendor said, "and get a shower." Arthur took the sandwich. It was ham and cheese. He sat on the station steps and ate it. He ate slowly, savoring the texture of the bread, the salt of the ham. He wasn't the director. He wasn't the architect. He was a guy eating a sandwich on a subway stairwell in Queens. And for the first time in his life, Arthur Vane didn't want to be anyone else. He finished the sandwich. He wiped his mouth. He looked up at the sky. It was a brilliant, painful blue. He had burned his life down. He had destroyed his career. He had pushed away the only woman who had ever looked at him with kindness. He had a lot of work to do, but the noise was gone. Arthur stood up. He winced as the sciatica bit into his hip. "Hello, Payne," he whispered. "Nice to meet you." He started walking, not to escape but to find a library. He needed a computer. He needed to write a resume. He was starting from scratch. Version 1.0.